I'm using this as a light source. So progress was made today. The hardtail is tacked into place. Looking good. It's kind of funny that it's a little bit off center, but that's just kind of how it is. Because this hardtail connects to the shock mount there. And this one connects directly to the swing arm, so it's going to be a little bit off center. I have the wheel in place, just mocking up the rest of the stuff I would have to weld to the swing arm. Or, I mean, to the hardtail. Fender I'm going to chop right about here. And probably just weld it straight to the swing arm in there. And then, you know, bend the, what do you call it? Bend the sissy bar around it. And I got one of those tail lights that's just a light strip. I don't think it's going to work well, but I'm going to give it a shot. Usually those things don't. So, yeah, it's tacked into place. I'm going to get the nice welder to do all the finish welding once I get everything how I want it. So right now, the big problem and the big question is, what do I do with the gas tank? Can I do this one-handed? Oh, I'm so talented. All right, so what do I do with the gas tank? Because even though the front mounts are as tight as they can be, it still wants to, I said, yeah, it still wants to move up and down a little bit. So I'm like, if I keep the mount here and try and like build a bracket to it, it's gonna limit how far up I can put the seat. And that is an issue, because if it's back here, it's pretty much laying straight on the fender. And, you know, for obvious reasons, that's not good, because the spring won't compress and it'll be even more of a hardtail. So my solution is to cut this tab off, just straight cut it off, and move the seat up so it's pretty much there. And that will give me all the travel in the world back here. Because I ordered a 3-inch spring versus a 2-inch, because I do need the extra clearance. I do need the seat to be a little bit higher. Otherwise, I'll just be sliding off of it because of the angle of the hardtail. So I'm gonna cut this, and so then the question there is, what do I do about the tank moving up and down? And I was thinking, well, I could weld a bracket into the bottom of this and like make a cap, you know, and like put a captive nut on the brace that's gonna go across here and screw it in, but that just looks terrible. And then I'm thinking, and I'm looking, and I'm like, if I could just make it like one of those old Honda gas tanks where the rear mount is just like rubber, and it's just kind of like held in place, and the front mounts are actually what like keep it where it's supposed to be. Like, it allows it to move up and down a little bit. If I could figure out a way to do that, then I could, you know, I'd be in a pretty good spot. But the problem is the main gas tube that goes down into the secondary tank, which, by the way, I'm deleting. That's in the way. This which will be the new gas line, is flexible enough, and I can basically just have it go straight down, and it'll go straight down into the pump that lives in here. So what do I do about this? Well, it actually ends right here. Like that's the metal of it right there. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, why don't I just, once this gets taken off, why don't I just put my bracket right here, whoops, stay boy, right there, which I'm going to mount the seat to. And why don't I just pinch this shut and use that and like keep the rubber there and just have that keep it in place, because if it's going to move up, and it's going to hit this, which actually I'm going to use a thicker gauge steel, but it's going to hit this, and that kind of solves my problem, because I need to plug up this fuel line anyways if I'm going to delete the rear, or delete the secondary tank. So I think I'm just going to do that. I'm going to try and get that as, you know, like clamp it and try and get it as tight as possible, weld it, and like try and do like some sort of pressure test to make sure that, you know, I'm not going to be leaking gas everywhere. And then probably JB weld on top of it just to be absolutely 100% sure that it's sealed. I've done this method before on petcocks where they were like dual output petcocks, and I just JB welded the one size so it was just a single, and that worked fine. So I know the JB weld will hold up under gas, and of course weld will, but I just got to make sure that it's you know, as airtight as I can make it. And doing that with a flux core MIG welder is not the easiest thing in the world, but you know, I'll give that a shot. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this off, put my seat brace in there, and then that will keep the tank from moving all around. And I'll be able to get it in there because I still have some room to move in the front. Once I take the front mounts off, I'll have room to move it back and forth, and I can kind of move it forward and then back into place and then put the front mounts in there. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and that's basically going to leave me with, if I can somehow mock this up, it's going to basically leave me with this sort of look. Actually, it's going to be raised up a little bit more. So it's basically going to be like that, and that's pretty sweet. And yeah, I'm going to cut the fender about there. So actually, probably only this much of the fender will be shown. Well, from this little divot here, I think is actually just, I'm going to hide it underneath the seat, so you'll never see it. So basically, the only fender you'll see is this bit right here, the smooth bit. So basically, only this much. I'm going to have this much of a rear fender, like from there, from the seat, like that much, and that'll look good, huh? And then the weird taillight stuff in there. And if that doesn't look good, I'll just use a taillight like I got over there on the bobber and just drill that guy in there. No big whoop. So that was today. Tomorrow, I guess I'll just do that and start modifying this gas tank, cut this off and all that jazz. And yeah, I ordered some new parts. First of all, the drag bar came in the mail. I'm probably going to take about 1 inch off of each end, shorten it up a little bit. Not that short, but shorter. And I got some risers in the mail to bring this up because otherwise it's going to just smack the gas tank and I won't have any turning radius at all. So bring it up a little bit. It'll look pretty good. I'll be able to have a pretty nice sleek riding position. So I'm happy about that. And also I'm most happy about the fact that it runs. Holy crap. What a little turn of good luck there. And that actually, I'm thinking about it, that's going to leave me a lot of time. And it's going to leave me with some leftover time because as of right now I have about 18, 19 days to complete it. So a little over 2 weeks, and that's a lot of time. I'm going to be pretty confident with this once I get it all finished welded in place. And then it's time to turn my sights on the front of the bike. And what I want to do is I think I want to run a headlight like I got on my Phaser, which is the two auxiliary light bars like stacked on top of each other. I think I'm going to run that. Get rid of these horns because they're weird looking. Yeah, like I think this. Oh no, it's not. I was thinking this. The headlight ear was welded into the triple, but it's not. Maybe I can keep this. But what I might end up doing is just getting headlight ears like that, slap them on here, and so that I have the headlights a little bit lowered and a little bit more centered in between the two trees. And then I don't know, make a single gauge, maybe relocate it down there, maybe keep it up there, don't know, we'll see. So that pretty much updates my price to, in parts, well actually I'm around 600 bucks right now. It's a 300, 6, that's 4, that's 5, yeah, I'm around 600 bucks right now. So hey, guess what, that's my budget. Just kidding, I still have $400, but you know what? At the end of it, I think I have enough time now. I think I've done enough work, and I think I've got ahead of the game enough that you know, I'll have some time to actually make it look good, clean it up a little bit, do all the stuff in the third that I want to do. It'll be pretty sweet. I'm actually pretty excited because once, you know, the hardtail's like done, rear fender, that's pretty much done, seats, like I got all that crap except for the spring, tail light, that's on the way, and then it's just handlebars, they're here, controls, whatever, I'll move them, stickers, they're here, side panels, I'll make those, that's like not even a afternoon's worth of work. Jet kit's here, that's in there, that's why the bike runs, and then the rest of the crap, pretty happy. And just one more final look onto what I did for the right side hardtail mount. Obviously that cupped, nice. You can see I just basically pounded in a piece of steel into the tube, welded it in place, and rounded off the edges a little bit to make it not look horrible. I mean, it still looks not awesome, but it doesn't look horrible. And yeah, obviously you're gonna weld the rest of that up, but it's tacked in place, and that's all I need. And it's actually mighty friggin' solid for just being tacked in place, so I'm happy about this. I just need to make sure that when I'm welding, I put all my heat into the hardtail bar and then move it down into the stock frame, just because this bar is so thick. I want to make sure that it penetrates as much as possible into the thick bar, and then I can move the puddle down into the thinner stuff. So I'm happy. Tomorrow I'll modify this tank.